Hello, everybody. This is Just In Case, and we're getting feedback because Jerry got closer to the microphone. Hey, of Americans' Perspective, joining our friend and media personality, Jerry Maldonado, back for another installment of Meatball Perspectives and Proverbs. Hello, Jerry. Welcome back to Americans' Perspective.
Yes, sir. How are you? As I'm stretching out loud here on
Yeah, we're known for our dynamic intros.
We're very comfy sitting right here doing whatever and dressed as whatever.
And talking to our audience.
Yeah, basically.
So, speaking of that, leadership matters. You brought it up to me, Jerry. What's happening? What do we need to know about leadership?
I've been waiting. I've been itching, pardon the pun. I've been itching to talk about this topic for a long time. And I finally had a good example of it happen last week. And people can use this as a metaphor in their own life as well. The late, great Bob Proctor, he was, in the very beginning of his career, he would go into these big corporations like insurance corporations, and the leadership there wanted him to help the staff become better. So basically what Bob Proctor did, and he basically changed the title from salesman to account executive. And that was a powerful tool, because what that did, it made the employees feel more special. It made them feel more appreciated. Then he went along the lines of helping the employees change their paradigm, hence their way of thinking, how they approach customers, and the mindset of a good account executive with this new title. Granted, sales doubled, and I'm not sure what insurance company that was, but to keep it short, he basically doubled their sales within a year, and that brought him to a new level of business consulting, and therefore the rest is history for the next 30 or 40 years of his career. Getting back to today, I had the experience last week because my operation, and I've always been criticized for this. I mean, since day one in my decades in management, I have been criticized for being too nice. And to me, it never made sense to me to ridicule or shoot down people because I saw the psychological effects from that. So I had an opportunity last week. And I have in my operation, it's pretty big. They actually need two managers, myself and somebody else, to run this big operation that we handle. Man, she was on vacation, so I had the whole pickle last week. And I said, wait, I'm going to follow that same paradigm that Bob did. Let everybody do their job last week, and I can honestly say, during the course of a week when everybody's there, there's usually drama and strife between people, not a peep. And I remember one quote that Bob Proctor said, and it always stuck with me, and it's always helped me in my management career, and hopefully employers will hear this as well, is the fact that you control the energy of the room. If you're the leader, people follow what you're doing. And I've never had a problem on my side of the spectrum, meaning my part of the management job doing it. But when I incorporated everybody together, it was a whole other animal I was tackling. But in short, everybody worked together when they realized and they were appreciated for what they do. Employers, and I'm sorry, and I can say this, I can tell them till they're blue in the teeth that if you make somebody feel appreciated, if you give them and you coach them and you encourage them to do the job that they were hired to do, they will produce double. And I had the exact effects on that last week. What's your take?
Well, a couple takes. I agree with you. And what he did for the employees and what you did for the employees is you helped them change their perspective.
Mm-hmm.
And in doing so, I would guess they accepted some ownership of what they were doing.
Bingo. Great point on that, because...
And that's...
Go ahead.
Well, in too many arenas, I've been the leader. And I do believe in calm, assertive leadership. And I think people gravitated to me for that, and I accepted it. But leadership is responsibility, and it has to be done correctly.
Yeah, people have this notion of the old boss, the yelling, screaming. That's gone by the wayside, honestly. You're dealing with a whole other animal. when it comes to employees now. And honestly, I can say I've been doing this now for 30, 40 years in the field of management and all aspects of it. And you're right. When they feel appreciated and when you give them some ownership in their job and their responsibilities, you'd be surprised. I mean, the leading cause of why employees leave is not the job, it's the management. And employers don't get that. And I've been shouting from the rooftops for the longest time. I finally gave up on that notion and working on personal assertiveness within people with my show and your shows, because if they feel better about themselves, they're naturally going to gravitate in there. But employers got to realize, and a lot of people have to realize, if you're a manager in a facility, you got 20 people, that's 20 different personalities you have to deal with. And it's not a one-stop shopping. You're dealing with all different facets and phases of people that you have to understand and work with. True leaders know this. And this is what I do. I know each of my employees, not personally, but professionally. I know their quirks. I know what they can do and what they can't do. And therefore, I follow through with that. Therefore, you create a smooth operation. You just doubled your production without even breaking a sweat when it comes to that. And I can honestly tell you, starting this new week, when everybody came back, all the management came back, it went back to the old paradigm. It was quite amazing, because it went right back to the old paradigm of stress and yelling. And I just sat in the foreground and just watched how it's amazing how people are so used to one thing, they go right back to it. Leadership is you asserting yourself, the process of influencing, motivating, and enabling others for a collective good. In other words, doing your job. Employers don't get that. They think you're just a number. I get it. It's a big company, whatever you want to do. But when you start getting involved on a personal level, not with each employee, but as a department as a whole, you're going to increase your production. You're going to keep their turnaround to a minimum. Each employee costs what, 10 grand now to train and go through the whole process? I mean, they're losing, companies are losing people left and right, not because of the job. It's because of the people involved in training the job, running the job. And I can tell you honestly, from years being in this field, it's all about leadership in the position.
Well, absolutely. And, it's too easy for a work environment to become toxic.
Mm-hmm.
And that comes from the top.
Yes.
And nobody in their right mind wants to work in a toxic environment.
Well, I totally, and it's even worse when the leadership is toxic. In other words, they bring their outside world to work. And I try to tell people, I said, leave your home at home. I said, we all have little things going on in our life, but if you need time off, I'm more than happy to give it to you. To take care of whatever's going on in your life. But some people are so conditioned, and especially leaders are so conditioned to use that old whip and chain as far as directing people. And even that was thrown at me in my very early beginning. And they said, you got to be tough. And I said, what are you going to be tough for? I said, we're all adults here. I said, you don't have to yell and scream at people to get them to do something. If you motivate them, inspire them, and show them that you're as much as interested in the job as they are, they're going to, that old term in kindergarten, follow the leader. That's what they do. And whatever leader brings every day, because the leader is the focal point and the energy of the show of that moment. I make sure when I go in every day, my energy is paramount to everything that's going on in there, because they follow my lead. And it's great because it's amazing how you can watch these people literally feed off you in their production levels. Go ahead.
Well, I coached baseball for 8 years at a reasonably high level. And what I learned, the first thing you have to teach is the passion. Once the players are passionate, everything else comes easy.
Isn't it amazing?
So the idea of being a tyrant, it just doesn't work.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
And it doesn't work in the job environment either.
No, and some people are stuck in that whole paradigm. I get it. People are brought up on it. But if you don't evolve with the times, you wonder why you can't find any help. And I've been hearing this for decades. Oh, you can't find good help. What do you mean you can't find good help? If somebody's experienced in the job, all you have to do is provide a good energy, and that naturalness, like you were talking about, in teamwork is going to come out. But the minute you shoot somebody down, mentally or in any form of mental shoot down or put down, that employee is going to close up and they're going to slow down. Not because they're doing something bad, it's because they're preoccupied in their mindset, not about work, but about how they feel. And they don't need all these awards and accolades to feel better. All they want, I can tell you right now, from dealing with hundreds of people throughout my lifetime as far as employees go, they just want to feel appreciated. They just want to feel a part of the team. And you can use this metaphor in your own life as far as leadership goes. Remember, you control the energy of your environment wherever you go. And if you don't like the energy when you get there, you step forward. That's what employees do. If they don't like the energy over a course of time, they start getting used to it. It's like Stockholm Syndrome. Eventually, they're going to leave. So if you want to retain the help that you really need to keep your operation going, which people forget, without employees, you don't have an operation. And until you start treating them fairly and respectfully, and yeah, of course you're going to have some meatballs here and there. I get it. You know, with my bakery, I had the same employees for 7 years, except for one. And that was it. So the retention was 99%. And that's impossible in the corporate world. Why, I don't know. They don't get it. Well, it's very simple. Look at how they're being led, and you'll find out the problem. Go ahead.
Well, I agree with you, Jerry, and I have managed a lot of employees before, and it's a task, and staying positive and staying on point with them and being an example, serving as an example to them is what it's all about.
Great point.
And if you can't do that, and if you can't evolve to the times, you have no right to be a leader.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. And
look how much we've evolved in the last 30 years.
Yeah.
I mean, it's dramatic.
You've known me for what, over 20, I think it is now. And that paradigm of thinking compared from then to now, they can do that at work as well. And Bob Proctor always said, if you don't like the environment, go and change it. They're like, how do I do that? Just be a force of good. Be a good energy point for people to come to, and don't be afraid to listen to people. You know, a lot of egos get in the way when it comes to management. I get it. You know, I see this every day at my work. I really don't say much. I do what I have to do, and because I don't want to get involved on certain levels, I just want to give them the best. And my employees say, how can you take it? I said, how can I take what? I said, I give it my best every day. And first thing I asked him, I said, you believe in karma? He said, yeah. I said, well, why don't you give your best and feel good about it? And watch how life shows you more opportunities, perhaps, to move forward in different areas. Always just give your best. Be the best you, and all good will come back to you. But if you constantly, haggle these people, you're eventually going to lose them. And they wonder why, we can't find good help. Yeah, because you keep chasing them away. And you're not allowing them to be what they came there for. Go ahead.
Well, yeah, and I would suggest to the leaders out there that are having trouble, it's not that difficult. You just have to put some energy into it.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
and, I hate to use the expletive, but shit rises to the top. So if it's broken in the work environment, we know whose problem it is.
You bring up a great point. There was several employees that had issues with a bunch of different employees, and they would go to management saying, I'm having a problem with this, and this. The supervisors turned around and told them, they said, have you looked in the mirror? Have you looked in the mirror to see perhaps you might be the problem causing it? A lot of management won't do that. They'll blame the sales numbers are down on this and that. When all they have to do is look in the mirror how they're managing this herd of personalities that they have below them. How you manage them is how they're going to produce, in whatever field it might be. If you're not finding good help, it's because you're not hiring good help. If they're not qualified, don't just fill the position. because you're only hurting yourself. A lot of these employers now are just hiring just to fill the position. And believe me, as a corporate trainer for many years, I've been stuck trying to train something out of nothing. And it's not an easy task. So focus on the people that have the ability and invest in those people that have the ability in the right way. Most importantly, with a simple appreciation. I mean, every time I ask for a task, I say, please. Believe it or not, yeah, I'm a manager, big deal. But please, can you go do this for me? It's simple. The old Barney philosophy. I mean, really. And I've never had a problem with anybody saying, you know what, no. It's never been an issue. They say, okay, thanks. That's it. You simple gratitude and simple respect towards the people that are keeping you going, believe me, and helping them feel better is going to go a long way.
Jerry, I think that's a great place to wrap this one up, and I think it was a good topic, and I think you handled it marvelously.
Stoically, like I normally do?
Stoically. Yes.
I try. I just want I want employers to really embrace what they got, because they got some key people there. Start appreciating them. Watch what happens to your business.
Hey everybody, this has been Just in Case and Jerry Maldonado bringing you Meatball Perspectives. Thanks for joining us. Remember, additional information and links are provided in this video's Read More. Today is the day to subscribe to this channel. Please learn more about Jerry Maldonado when time permits.